We're at Catalina Island here today, fishing aboard the Gail Force. Let's see what I got here. Oh, it's a little bonita. It's a little bonita, and that's a rattling roe with the big bill on there. And fishing with me today is this Kim Bain. How you doing, Kim?
Good, Dan. How are you?
Kim's on the pro staff with Shakespeare. She's a professional bass angler. You watch her fish on ESPN, a lot of the other tournaments and stuff. She's been kind enough to come out here. She's from Australia. So today we're going to introduce you to West Coast party boat fishing. And like I said, we're on the Gail Force today, right at Catalina Island, fishing inshore for fish like this, bonita, calico bass. You never know what to expect. Maybe even a yellowtail. We'll see what happens. So stay tuned for this week's exciting episode of Sport Fishing. This week's episode of Sport Fishing is brought to you by Shakespeare, Cabela's, Cajun Red Line, Fluger, Game Saver, Blue Cross of California Foundation, and by Laser Shark, manufactured by Eagle Claw. Just working that crankbait. There he comes right here. A little bonita. It's a little fun. What we're doing right now, we're just picking away at the bonita, some barracuda in the area, fishing close to the Cal Pier. There's been some yellowtail in the area. What we're trying to do is just pick away till the yellowtail show up. Here's my fish right here. This is one of those baits a lot of people don't think about for using on the ocean. It's basically a freshwater bait, but as you can see, it works great. Bonita love them, barracuda love them. I've caught lots of calicos on these. It's a rattling roe, and it's got the big bill on it. That way it dives down a little bit. See the line I'm using? This is the Cajun red line. This is a 14-pound test line. And the gear I'm fishing is any gear that you would use for freshwater bass fishing. This is pretty normal what you would use on a tournament, right, Kim?
Yeah, it is.
It's just a Fluger reel and a Shakespeare light rod, custom rod here. Nice little barracuda, little bonita.
Yeah.
There you go. Two. Kim, I got a live anchovy on there, just fly lining it. I'm just getting picked up right now by a fish. taking line, and wind down on it. There we go.
Awesome,
See what this
man.
is.
Please be bass, please be bass.
Please be a calico. Feels like a bass. Yeah.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, live anchovy. Biggest anchovy I could find in there. Here he comes. Yeah, it's a calico. Calico bass.
It's all the way down there. How can you even?
I can see the color. I have X-ray vision.
That's cool.
It's an American thing.
Right, right.
Low calico bass. This is a
Whoa.
calico.
They're
Yeah.
really pretty. Can you hold them like a largemouth? Oh, well,
Yeah.
I guess you can.
So Ryan, what are we fishing for here? More calicos and stuff?
Trying to look for some bass. A decent current, decent condition, but we're not really picking as much as I like to be seeing.
Yeah.
But yeah, bass, a few bonita around here.
Well, Kim's first time here fishing from Australia, so she's fishes. Yeah, it's first time here at Catalina Island. There we go.
That's cool. I want to catch one of those.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
Step in the water. It's a little guy.
This week's Fish Fact is brought to you by Laser Sharp Hooks, manufactured by Eagle Claw. Bonita can be found in a large range, from Chile all the way north to the Gulf of Alaska. They live on a big variety of bait fish, eating anchovies, sardines. They also like squid and shrimps. Bonita are part of the tuna family, and they are a lot of fun to catch. In California, there are different size limits for keeping bonita. Make sure you check the local regulations and make sure that bonita you keep are legal.
It was way back there, too.
Yeah, it should be a calico.
Hopefully.
There you go.
That was
First
cool.
time.
You're on that circle hook, too. I did just like you said.
Yeah.
I let it run.
Oh, that's a nice size one. That's a legal one.
Should I just wake him up?
He's up. Yeah, just lift him straight up. There you go. Yeah. Nice fish. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All the way from Australia, the first calico bass.
That was cool, you know.
Yeah.
I just let him run. I let him take like 10, 12, 15 feet and then just wound down. And, you know, I did set on him just a little bit. Now, I know you're not supposed to really swing on it, but I couldn't help myself. It was my largemouth bass training. He was taking line. I had to swing on it.
Well, you did the right thing. You got him.
Yay!
All right, I'm going to release him real quick. All right, well, stay tuned. We'll be right back. Kim and all our friends here aboard the Gail Force as we're trying to get more calico bass. Congratulations.
Thank you.
This week, the Tackle Box is brought to you by Shakespeare, manufacturer of America's best-selling fishing rod, the Ugly Stick. Today in the Tackle Box, I want to talk to you a little bit about what we're doing at Catalina Island. We're targeting these smaller bonita, and what I'm doing is throwing stick baits at them. The rattling roll works really good. This is a particular bait I'm using today. And why I like it is it has a thin profile, so it swims really tight in the water, and this long bill makes the bait dive down after the fish. It works really great for these bonita. Fish are holding a little bit deeper, and you can reach them with a bait like this. It isn't a problem. Now, once the bonita come up and they get to the surface, then I want to switch baits. I want to go something like this, a Magic Meadow Light. This is the MM5. It's a light bait, and what's neat about this, it's got rattles in it, so it really attracts those game fish. It's deadly on bonita, barracuda like it, calico bass like it, but these smaller bonita, they can't resist this Magic Meadow Light. They come up and chase it all the time. Works really good. Now, these seem like really light baits, small baits to throw for saltwater fishing, but they work good for the bonitas, and the outfit I would use is a rod and reel like this. This is a Shakespeare Ugly Stick custom rod. I have a Fluger reel here with 8-pound test Cajun red line. You might think this is a really light outfit, but I use it all the time. It works great on these fish like bonita. It's made by Shakespeare. It's a great combo. You should look for it in your local stores. Well, let's get back on the water and show you more exciting action here on Sport Fishing. Okay, just gonna lift them up. There we go. Nice bonita. And caught this on Magic Meadow Light jig, number 5. Just working it right up on the surface, and this fish attacked it. Nice bonita. So it's your first time fishing on a party boat, and first time fishing out here on the West Coast like this. What'd you think of it?
I am having a fabulous time down. I mean, what's not to like? Look at this incredible view, and I get to hang out with 40 other guys and girls that love fishing, and we're all here telling stories and catching a variety of species. It's awesome.
You know, there's a lot of young people thinking about turning pro, fishing the circuits like you do, fishing the bass tournaments, fishing the redfish tournaments. What kind of advice would you give a young person?
I think my biggest advice is to definitely get an education. You know, the fishing industry is a tough place, and to compete on tour, it costs a lot of money.
Right.
It really does. You've got all your travel expenses, accommodation, fuel, and you know, it's a really tough gig. So to have an education to back you up, you know, in case maybe it doesn't work out, I think is a really positive thing. But the biggest tip is to follow your dreams. If that's what you want to do, then definitely stick with it, and maybe start fishing some local and some regional tournaments. And when you start getting more comfortable with those, and go up to the next level and just, you know, see how you're feeling, and have fun, and never stop having fun. I mean, that's what fishing is about. Never take it too seriously.
I think a lot of people don't understand that when they see you fishing on TV, on different networks that you're on, the different tournament trails and stuff, they think that's the whole job. They think that's the whole fun part. And it is the fun part, fishing, but they don't see all the travel, all the promotions, all the stuff you have to do behind the scenes.
That's right, Dan. I mean, there is so much that goes behind it all. I mean, quite often when you're fishing a tournament, you'll get maybe 4 hours of sleep a night, and that's over a week, because you've got all the days of practice, and then you've got the actual tournament. And quite often you're not eating very much, you're not drinking very much, because every cast is important, so you're trying to maximize time. And you know, when that's over, you're really tired. So it's hard work. You know, it's great. We get to go out and enjoy the sunshine and the wildlife and catch fish, but there is, you know, hard work that goes behind it too.
So this being your first trip out here on the West Coast fishing an open party like this, is this unique to the United States? I mean, you don't see a lot of this type of fishing when you're out?
This is something that I've experienced just one other time in New Zealand, which is very close to Australia, just a stone's throw away from Aussie. But yeah, it is really different from anything that I've experienced, and it was, you know, it was, when I came out today, I didn't really know what to expect. I thought, wow, you know, we've got, you know, 25, 30 guys on board, and you know, are we going to get lines tangled? Are there going to be some issues pop up? But it isn't. It's fun, and you're hanging out, and there's just, everyone's out here having a good time, and I think it's great.
Well, we're going to pull in here to fish another spot, but I just want to thank you for joining us today. It's a lot of fun. Look for Kim on TV. She's fishing all different tournaments. When she leaves here, she'll be in Florida, and she'll be fishing a redfish tournament there. And next year you'll be back on the bass circuit?
Yep, next year back on the bass and back on the redfish too, and just traveling around fishing and having a good time and meeting people like you yourself.
Well, thanks a lot for coming out.
Thanks for having me.
And what she said too about staying in school if you're going to be turn pro, I think that's important, because even if it doesn't work out, it'll be important. But if it does work out and you get successful, all that education will come in handy too.
Exactly. You know, and fishing is all about promoting and marketing as well. So if you can maybe have some kind of a background in that, that'll really help.
Very good. All right, well, thanks a lot, Kim.
Thanks, Dan.
Kim's a lot of fun. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to pull up on this spot here. Probably be our last spot of the day. We'll see if we can pick up a few more bass. You never know what to expect. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. More action here aboard the Gail Force, beautiful Catalina Island. Thanks, Kim.
Thanks, Dan.
This week, the Galley is brought to you by Dan Hernandez Dipping Sauces and the Baja Style Fish Batter. This week in the Galley, I want to talk to you about a fun, delicious recipe for cooking up barracuda. You know, they're long, slimy fish. People think they don't taste really good, but I tell you, barracuda is a great dish to eat, great fish to eat, and this is what they look like, nice and silver. But this is more of a delicate fish. You really want to cook it kind of fast. What we're going to show you is a beautiful, little, delicious recipe for doing this, making fish tacos. Now I have some barracuda, and it's sitting right here in the Dan Hernandez sweet and spicy dipping sauce. We also use it as a marinade, sometimes even use it as a salad dressing, and put it right there. Well, this has been sitting here for about an hour. I have our Dan Hernandez fish batter, and I put some beer in there, and just gonna mix it up with a little bit more, make it nicely crunchy looking. And all you do is just mix it up, get a nice consistent texture to it. Now, if you don't want to use beer, if you're allergic to beer or you just don't drink beer, you can go ahead and just use water. Okay, so we have this nice, good consistent. I'm just going to turn up my flame here. And what I want to do is add a little bit of oil. I'm not going to add a whole lot of oil. It's because I'm not going to like deep fry it like a deep fryer. I'm just going to kind of pan fry it. So I just want enough to cover the bottom of the plate. And once I get this nice and warm, I'll just drop my fish in there. Okay, the oil's getting nice and warm. We have our batter. You see how nice and consistent this looks? So all we want to do now is take the fish and take it out of the marinade or the dipping sauce, put it in the batter, and just drop it right in the pan. Take another piece of barracuda and just drop it right in the pan. And that's all there is to it. It's really nice and simple. It'll just take a little while for this to cook up, and then we'll go ahead and make our taco. Now we're ready to go ahead and make the tacos. So all we're going to do at this point is get our tortillas, warm them up really quick, just throw them on the grill. That's all we want to do, just brown them a little bit. And then all I'm going to do, turn that off, throw my tortilla in the pan. Fish is nice and fried up. Grab me a piece of the barracuda. Get a little bit of cabbage. Got red cabbage here. Some green cabbage. Like the contrast in the colors. Wouldn't be a Mexican dish without cilantro, so put a little cilantro there. A little bit of bell peppers. And then just squeeze on a little bit of lemon, and a little bit of lime. And the big kicker on this is you want to add some more of the dipping sauce. So just go ahead and get the dipping sauce, the sweet and spicy. And lots of times you see people use like a mayonnaise sauce or something. This is totally different. Just put a little bit of the dipping sauce on there, and that's it. If you want to try different flavors, there's 4 different flavors of dipping sauce. The sweet and spicy is really a great one to try with tacos. That is delicious. You know, barracuda is a fish that a lot of people think just isn't worth cooking. I'll tell you, this is a delicious recipe, really simple to do. We're just using the Dan Hernandez Baja style fish batter. And to marinate it, we use the dipping sauce. This is a sweet and spicy dipping sauce. You can find it at your local store or visit our website. Both those products are there. And I tell you, it's just a really simple way to do. You just add little ingredients to it. I always like to add a little bit of that lemon lime at the end. It just really soaks into the fish, makes it taste really delicious. And I tell you, fresh barracuda is one of the best fish you can eat. It's really good. It's just about cooking it fresh. Well, let's get back on the water and show you more exciting action here on Sport Fishing. Oh, we just made another move. We're working our way farther on the front side, just using that same little lure. And we're in close to the kelp beds. And there's a lot of calicos in here. It's probably the smallest calico I caught all day. But just showing you, using a rattling lure, fishing the same light gear that you would use for freshwater bass fishing, fluger reel, Cajun red line, Shakespeare ugly stick custom rod. All we're doing is just throwing right to the kelp. Right into the kelp, above the kelp, and with that long bill, I'm able to just slowly grind this back. There we go, right over the kelp, and I just got bit again. Little calico. There we go. Little calico bass, not a big one. There's some bigger ones in there. Just showing you how easy it is. You just cast it right over the kelp, and it works out really nice.
Not giving up.
Bonita, I thought that was tuna.
It is. This week, the tip of the week is brought to you by Magic Metal Jigs and B52 Bucktail Jigs. This week's tip of the week, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about what we did here at Catalina Island, fishing aboard the Gail Force. What I did, because we're fishing for smaller fish and close to kelp, I downsized my tackle, and that's what I was using all day today. The Shakespeare Ugly Stick custom rod, the small fluger reel like a freshwater reel, and using the Cajun line. I was fishing 12 and 14 pound. Kim was using the same 12 and 14 pound, and you could have really fished as light as 6 or 8 pound tests today. And then the small profile baits like this is a rattling row with the long bill on it so you can get down a little bit deeper. And when we use live baits, we use the smaller hooks, the thin wire eagle claw hooks, circle hooks. They work great today too.
Yeah, I definitely found that small circle hook and the small weight was the key to my success today. And also, you know, and a little tip, when you're tournament fishing and you are fishing those heavily pressured fisheries, that is the tip. Downsize your line and use smaller profiled baits and you'll catch a lot more fish.
Well, that's a great tip. That's my tip of the week, mine and Kim's tip of the week. Downsides when you fish heavy areas, when you get on a tough day, have a lot of fun, use a lighter gear and catch fish like this. Well, Kim, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Dan.
We had a lot of fun. See Kim out there in the tournaments on TV, pro staffer with Shakespeare too. She's a great angler. She's one of the few women out there fishing the pro circuit, and you've done really good this year.
I have done well this year, and you know, it's not really against, you know, it's not about the guys against the girls and vice versa. It's all just getting out there and having a great time. That's
great. Well, I'm Dan Hernandez, and for Kim, we hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Sport Fishing, and I hope you join us again next week as we go looking for more of the best in sport fishing. Thanks again.
Thanks, Dan.